Program for a new tornado warning. This includes Kiowa County until 9:45 this evening. You can see this circulation on the far southwest side of the storm. This circulation is to the northeast of the Lexington area. This is not confirmed on the ground, but this is definitely showing signs of rotation that could indeed produce a tornado. And this is in an area that's been relatively untouched by tornadic development so far this evening. This is why those of you that live to the northeast of Lexington, where you see these greens and these reds, especially where these reds are, this is where a tornado may be trying to develop. This is going to put the location at County Line Road. And Lucy, also, if you zoom closer in, County Line Road, and also over toward North Broadway Avenue. So North Broadway Avenue, County Line Road. If you live in this part of Comanche County over toward Kiowa County, I need you folks to be in your tornado safe place. Chances are your phones are probably starting to go off, and you are probably also hearing some of the tornado sirens that are going off into the distance also. Look at how big this storm is. It's really started to ramp up in such a short period of time. At the top of your screen, you will notice Greensburg. You will also notice Mullinville. Mullinville and Greensburg, both under a severe thunderstorm warning that will take us until 10 p.m. As for the portion of the storm that is tornado warned upon, it is going to go from Lexington. This is just a small sliver of Clark County until 9:45 tonight, but it's pretty much going to be out of Clark County here. And it is going to clip the northwestern portions of Comanche County, but the track of this is going to be to the northeast between 30 and 40 miles per hour, which is going to put the center of circulation into Kiowa County. Greensburg, you see how this is farther to the north of you. I think that most of this circulation is probably going to travel just to the southeast, but if we were to put a storm track on this over the next several minutes up to the next hour and putting it to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour, and what meteorologist Lucy Dahl is going to do, she's going to expand this even longer than that, so we could add a few more cities if this decides to maintain its intensity. And it looks like the latest scan, it has now started to ramp up even further in southwestern Kiowa County and northwestern Comanche County. With this track, this will put it over toward Belvedere at about 9:58, Haviland at 10:05, and Croft at 10:07. This storm has prompted a tornado warning until 9:45 tonight. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other radar products that we have with this storm. We have a closer look at the roads, County Line Road and North Broadway Avenue. This is where we have some of the brightest greens and reds that are touching. This is where the tornado could be developing, or we may have a tornado that could momentarily be hitting the ground. We're gathering more information from the National Weather Service office. This is pretty good rotation that's going to be right here in this location. So we're talking about Kiowa County here. We're talking about Comanche County in this part. The circulation here is where the potential tornado could be. We also have a tornado watch that is in effect, and the tornado watch is going to stay in effect. It's actually been expanded longer to account for these other supercells that are now developing. While this is until 10 p.m., we have other counties that will stay under a tornado watch until midnight, 1 a.m., because it looks like the threat is going to continue for a little bit longer. But it looks like we may have another tornado here, Lucy.
Yeah, I'm looking at coefficient or our debris to try to see if we've picked anything up. I'm not seeing anything yet, which is good news because we don't want to start to see a debris ball. That means that this storm is starting to pick up some foreign objects along with it. This hook, though, it's really starting to become more defined. It's moving right along County Line Road, tracking off towards the northeast. If you live along Road 12, 21st Avenue, T Street, S Street, if these roads sound familiar, you know where they are, they're close to you, make sure that you are getting in your tornado safe place now. This is still radar indicated, meaning that we don't have eyes on the storm just yet. They're going to continue the warning for Kiowa and Comanche County, but Clark County has been pulled out of that warning now. As it moves off towards the northeast, I believe it's still moving at about 40 miles per hour, which is pretty quick, and it's producing winds up to hail, I should say, up to 2 inches, which is about hen egg in size. So we are still seeing this storm located 9 miles northwest of Coldwater, moving northeast at 40 40 miles per hour. That hook is becoming clearer and clearer, clear indication that this storm is starting to ramp up a bit. If I put on our velocity, it's still a bit more south than where that hook is, but it is crossing County Line Road, moving off towards the east of North Broadway Avenue at this time. Lisa, I'm going to put our shear rate back on because I feel like it's giving us a good idea.
Yeah, I think the shear rate product does a really good thing. As you can see here, the rotation, you go from weak rotation to moderate rotation and strong rotation. A lot of the tornadoes that we have shown tonight, anytime you start to see a sink drain like this, that's telling us that we do have a tornado that's on the ground. And we a lot of storm spotters along with storm chasers that are just flooding a lot of the roads in southwest Kansas. We've seen that in other parts of western Kansas under the tornado watch for today. Updated storm track. Brenham at 9:54. Tornado warning in effect for Kiowa County. Clark County no longer under this tornado warning, but Kiowa County will. And also just a small snippet of northwestern Comanche County, but the general track of this going at about 40 miles per hour to the north-northeast. This is going to put it right into Kiowa County. And it looks like it may stay just to the south of the Greensburg area and pass to the south-southeast. So if we zoom things out, we can take a look at our additional cities. Wilmore, we have Belvedere, we have Greensburg. These three cities that I just named off, they are actually under severe thunderstorm warnings like Greensburg. The rains are picking up in the Greensburg area, but once you get farther to the south-southwest, this is going to be the portion of the storm where we actually have the best rotation to where we could actually have a tornado. So this is a storm that we're watching relatively closely. This is also an area where we have not had many thunderstorms that have been touching these areas to maybe mess up the wind flow. So we have what's known as the low-level jet that's starting to kick in this evening, and that's just siphoning more moisture in. And this area has actually experienced some higher dew points, or the moisture content in the atmosphere is higher here than it has been in other parts of the state. We've had a warm front that's been trying to lift to the north. But where Lucy has this cursor, that's going to be 12 Road, just to the north of County Line Road. That is going to be a little bit of rotation. Plus, you're also going to have hail. Hail up to the size of 2 inches in diameter will be possible. And the hail core will also be tracking to the northeast. So the hail core may come close to the Greensburg area. Mullinville, the storm should stay, the majority of the worst part of the storm, if I will do say so, should stay to the south and to the east of you. Greensburg is going to be up here. Lucy, if we can zoom things out a little bit so we can take a look at some of the other cities here. This is going to be the highway that goes eastbound and westbound through Greensburg. If you ever travel out through western Kansas, out toward, you pass through Kiowa County, you're going to be traveling through Greensburg, through Joy, over toward Mullinville, on down toward Buckland if you're going to head all the way over toward Dodge City. But this part of the storm definitely is something for us to continue to watch. With a tornado warning in effect for Kiowa County, now looks like the circulation has moved away from Comanche County. So I have a feeling Comanche County will be lifted from the warning here momentarily. And this is all going to be about Kiowa County. So we'll watch this relatively closely near the Greensburg area to the south-southwest and also to the southwest of Haviland. Okay, we have to have a tornado here, Lucy.
Yeah,
we have to have one now.
Let me check our debris signature. It doesn't look like a spike exactly, but that shear rate, wow, when we start to see the yellow like that, that is such a clear indication that something is really starting to ramp up. We have not had confirmation on it yet. It is dark out, so maybe a lot of spotters not out anymore. It's not very safe to chase storms at night or to try to spot storms at night. So we are definitely getting a light show from our Dodge City camera pointing off towards the east there, towards where this supercell is moving through. Lots of cloud-to-cloud lightning. So lightning is usually a good indication the storm is nice and healthy. And that shear rate right there, that yellow, I'm going to circle it here for everyone. That is, if there is a tornado on the ground, that is where it's going to be.
Absolutely
in that
right.
spot. So I'm going to zoom out a bit, again, get us our bearings here. It is moving through an area that it doesn't have very many towns in that area, but in that corner of Kiowa County.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. So some of the towns that it's moving towards going to be Greensburg and Belvedere. If we put a track on there, I believe they just sent an update on it. They said that it is still dangerous and capable of producing tornadoes. It's moving northeastward, but could take more of a northerly jog. It's too soon to say at this time. That is a 30-minute track on that for you, Lisa. That means it's going to be in Burnham in about 9:54, but anywhere near Greensburg, Belvedere, Wilmore, it's going to stay probably north of you, but if we turn this duration up to 60 minutes, there's a nice list of towns for us because these storms have been holding together. We watched that one storm move from Scott County all the way north. It held together for at least an hour, if not longer. So that's just kind of the environment that we're dealing with this evening. These storms have been strong and continue to keep their strength as they trek through the region. So this cell right here, if that's not a tornado on the ground, Lisa, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, because some of the tornadoes that we have had so far for this evening, we would have more of what we call a saint drain, or it just looks like a red dot. But for us to see the yellow, that to me definitely tells me that we have some strong rotation. And anywhere from the red over toward the yellow, you are probably looking at a tornado that is on the ground. And if we put the track on this, going to the northeast, traveling at about 40 miles per hour, and we extended this over the next hour. Now, here's one thing to keep in mind when it comes to our winds. So we have this area of low pressure that's coming in from the west, and you have a counterclockwise flow that's moving around that area of low pressure. Could this take this a little bit more to the north over toward Greensburg? It is possible, but it's also possible that it may avoid Greensburg to the southeast and move over toward Brenham and then Haviland. And here's a look at some of the times that it is expected, like 10:01 into the Haviland area, and Wellsford at 10:06, Collison at 10:15, Hopewell at 10:20, Byers at about 10:26, and Pratt at 10:28. And Lucy, looks like we've now seen an update to a considerable tag for this tornado warning from the National Weather Service. Let me see a little bit more that they have. So it's been updated to a considerable tag. Chances are, if you are within the tornado warned area, you are going to have your phones. You're going to receive the WIA. Still looks a little messy,
Again,
but there's rotation in there.
Yes, this is south of Mullinville, south of Joy, but it is moving off towards the northeast. Getting a more zoomed in look on some road names. If any of these roads sound familiar, that's going to be Street T, Street R, Street Q, Road 12. That's about where this rotation is. It's looking fairly bright at this moment. Again, still not a confirmed storm. It is a...
Lucy? It has not gone purple on there, but the National Weather Service just had an update here. At 9:29, a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado was located 10 miles northwest of Wilmore, moving northeast at 40.
Okay, so it didn't get that tag as we move. There it goes, Lisa. It just took a second. They got caught up in the wires there, but this is now a confirmed tornado. Greensburg is included within this warning, as well as Joy. Yeah, it's moving off towards the northeast. Let's get a look at our shear rate again. That is still where we're going to see the best area of rotation indicated with those reds. Tracking off towards the northeast, still at 40 miles per hour, correct, Lisa? I believe
correct.
so.
It is still to the north. It is moving to the northeast. Let me see. There's a whole bunch of different updates within this. Taking one county out, putting another one in. We have to dig through a lot of stuff to find some of that. Northeast at 40. The confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado located 10 miles to the northwest of Wilmore, moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. So this is a particularly dangerous situation, folks. Considerable damage is possible. This is a life-threatening situation. Please do not go outside and try to attempt to look at this tornado as flying debris. It could be deadly and you could be caught without shelter. So please make sure that you are going someplace safe. Get into a basement. Put as many walls between you and the outside storm as possible. So we now have a tornado warning for Kiowa County and for Edwards County, and that is because a tornado has been confirmed. A large tornado, has been witnessed with this storm.
And we have a track here, Lisa, so it's moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. That means it's going to be in Greensburg at 9:51 p.m. Centerview about 10:12, Hopewell 10:23, Lewis 10:25, Byers about 10:30. So again, this storm has produced a tornado. I believe they had confirmation from someone with eyes on it. It is dark out. It is nighttime. Do not go out and try to see this storm if you're anywhere in this area. It's not going to be visible, and it likely, with the amount of moisture that we have right now, might even be rain wrapped. So if you live anywhere, Joy, Greensburg, Haviland, anywhere towards Haviland, Centerview, Fellsburg. Make sure that you are getting into your basement, into the innermost portion of your house if you don't have a basement, whether that be a closet, a bathroom, and you're taking proper precautions at this time.
So this has a considerable tag on it, which means a large tornado has been confirmed. This is Joy, this is Greensburg. Joy to Greensburg and Haviland, trying to take more of a northerly lift. Like I mentioned earlier, it's wrapping around. You're seeing that development around the parent low, which will take it more in this direction. Lucy, let's go ahead and lose the tornado watch off of here because so that way we can see the purple a little bit better. This is going to be where we do have the tornado that's traveling to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. Mullinville, not in the path of this tornado, but we have anywhere from Joy to Greensburg over toward Haviland. This will be crossing the interstate. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at some of the roadways in southern Kiowa County of a large confirmed tornado in Kiowa County. The tornado warning stays in effect until 10:15 for tonight. Lucy, please name off some of those roads.
We have Street T right where this area of rotation it is. It is moving off towards the northeast, so it's heading towards Street R. Q Street, 21st Avenue. If I zoom out and get a couple more, 25th Street, anywhere within this area, it's staying north of Street U, and it is off towards the east of Road 12. It's moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. It is keeping that considerable tag on it because we did have eyes on it. A storm spotter did report to the National Weather Service that they had eyes on this storm. Again, where those reds and greens are bright and where they're mixing, that is where that tornado is if it is on the ground at this time, and we're going to continue to see it track off towards the northeast. If I put this in motion, zoom out here just a little bit and put about 15 minutes on, we can see where it really starts to tighten up as it makes its way into Kiowa County here, and then it becomes confirmed as we see it brighten up. I am now going to put our shear rate back on. It gives a little bit of a clearer view of that red, which is where that rotation is indicated. Again, stepping back just a few minutes, we can see it tighten up. That's where it becomes confirmed. And as it makes its way off towards the northeast at about 40 miles per hour, we are seeing it get closer towards Street R, Road Q, 21st Avenue. It does look like it is more of a rural area, but it's moving towards populated areas. I'll zoom out once more so we can get a view of the towns that are going to be making, we're in the path of this storm as it makes its way off towards the northeast. That's going to be Greensburg, Joy, Wellsford, anywhere along US Highway 54, likely going to be impacted within Kiowa County. This is a confirmed tornado warning in place for Kiowa County through 10:15 p.m. It is moving off towards the north into Edwards County because it's expected to go close towards Centerview, Hopewell also within the path of the storm as it moves off towards the northeast. And just to look at if we're seeing really any hail with this, I'm going to put the Barron button on. We see that very small area of red. That is where that rotation is. But where we're seeing this bigger area of pink, that is likely where that hail core is going to be located, Lisa.
And it looks like the hail core is starting to get closer to the Greensburg area, followed by Brenham. And if it keeps on this track to the northeast, it will be moving over toward the Haviland area. And like Lucy circled, this little yellow dot here, this is where you're going to have the rotation. So when you're looking at the anatomy of a supercell, you have your rain, then you start to get into your hail, and then you get over to where you have the circulation of where the suspected tornado is located. And this is confirmed. A tornado warning in effect for Kiowa County until 10:15 for tonight. And you can see the road. So if this is Greensburg, this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, probably about 6 miles, 6, maybe 8 miles to the southwest of the Greensburg area. So if we put a storm track on this, Lucy, where this tornado is, and move it to the northeast, how long we're going to have before we move over toward the Greensburg area. So at about 9:53 p.m., 9:53. So folks in Greensburg need to be going to the lowest level of your house, get to your basement, put as many walls between you and the outside storm as possible. If you don't have your phone with you, turn up your TV. Make sure that your TV is really, really loud so that way you can hear us as we are calling out the different times. The time right now is coming up on 9:41. 10:21. Expected arrival time over toward Greensburg from 9:53. Brenham at 9:58. Truesdale at 10:21. Hopewell at 10:25. Lewis at 10:26. Belpre at 10:32. And Maxville at 10:38. And this is by all signs, Lucy, looks like it is still really holding together when you take a look at the circulation and the anatomy of this supercell and where we have the circulation that is going. And the National Weather Service has labeled this as a considerable threat.
I agree. It looks almost like a textbook picture of what a supercell would look like with that hook starting to form. I'm going to clear off some of this as we have quite a bit going on and zoom back in on where that area of rotation is. I want to keep our towns, Greensburg, in the view here as well. So we're going to put back on velocity, looking a little more ragged than what we were seeing earlier, but that shear rate staying strong.
Yeah, it is.
Right on top of Q Street on 25th Street. O Street, you are in the path now. N Street, County Road N, M Street, 25th Avenue towards Greensburg. It looks like it's heading right towards Greensburg at this moment as it moves northeast at about 40 miles per hour. Again, we're still watching it, trying to see what exact path it's going to take. So if you're anywhere within this confirmed tornado warning that's in place for Kiowa County through 10:15 and also portions of Edward County, please get into your tornado safe place now.
Yeah, we cannot stress this enough, and I can only imagine the anxiety that's going on in the Greensburg area. Did that just pop on?
Yeah.
So go ahead and zoom things out and let's explain what this means. This means a low-level lock, and just as we've been pointing out, this is going to be the location where you have the best possibilities of witnessing the tornado. So we're getting a lot of the information in the lower levels of the atmosphere. We're even getting it higher up in the atmosphere, and anytime that I do see more of moderate, and at one point we did have strong rotation on our shear rate product, that came out just before we started to hear information from the Dodge City National Weather Service folks saying that they have indeed confirmed a tornado in the southwestern portions of Kiowa County and northwestern Comanche County. A storm will continue to track to the northeast, so Greensburg to Haviland and Joy, the purple shaded polygon that is to the east of Mullinville. This is a confirmed tornado warning. Please make sure that you are taking this storm seriously. Get to your basement, get to the lowest level of your house and put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. If you have kids that are maybe over at a friend's house, please make sure that you give them a call and let them know that we are watching this storm closely and it has a tornado with it tracking to the northeast, and it puts Joy, Greensburg, and Haviland in the crosshairs of this storm. Want to get a little bit more information from the National Weather Service here that about 10 miles to the southwest of Greensburg, looking west from Highway 183, that they can confirm that the tornado is ongoing, Lucy.
And that is a spotter that is in the area that looks like from a different station in Kansas.
So it looks like a weather forecaster
Yeah.
from a different station, I think in Illinois,
But
that's out here. Storm
Someone I
tracking.
would say I would trust
Yeah.
their report.
Yep. So we've seen the activity on Doppler radar. We have been able to see it aloft. We've been able to see it towards the ground. And now we do have confirmation from people who actually have the eyes and the ears on the storm that it is producing a tornado. And it's unfortunate that Greensburg has to be called out again. Joy over toward Haviland. Tornado warning stays in effect until 10:15. We still have at least another, 31 minutes of this tornado warning to get through. And if it keeps going and it keeps holding together, and we're not seeing any signs of this weakening at all, it could bring the circulation over toward Hodges, Centerview, and maybe even Hopewell. And Lucy just popped on a new storm track at 9:45, coming up on 9:45. This will be in Greensburg, and consistently we've been talking about 9:54 in Centerview, in 10:16, Truesdale at 10:22, Hopewell at 10:26, Belpre at about 10:34, Maxville at 10:40, and Garfield at 10:44. Lucy, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other products that we have, but I definitely think that shear rate and also having our low-level lock here definitely gives us a good idea of where this potential tornado is. So if you look here, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up, got a new update. So that's going to cut it down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5 miles away. This may take it just to the southeast of Greensburg. It's going to be such a close call. But the slightest twitch to the north could bring it into Greensburg. I mean, it's going to be so close for Greensburg right now. And then we have to watch out for Brenham. And then we have to watch out for Haviland as well.
Lisa, I'm going to go ahead and turn the lock on just so I could see some of these some of these roads, I should say, right on top of O Street, County Road N. If we zoom in very close, it does O Street intersection with 25th Avenue. That would be my best guess. Anywhere in that area of where we're seeing that rotation. Again, spotters have said that they see the tornado on the ground, or what they believe to be the tornado, and so it would be right here. It is making its way off towards the northeast. We are looking at shear rate currently, which is our rotation in the atmosphere. If we turn on velocity, it tries to give us a different look at that rotation, where we're seeing those reds and those greens mixing. That's an indication of where our winds are moving, and we are still seeing that bright area of rotation, that couplet, if you will, right here, and that same exact spot where our shear rate was picking up on. It's just a little bit easier to see with the shear rate in place. We'll also turn now to our Barron button, still seeing that yellow and that hail core in place. If we're trying to look at our reflectivity with hail here, and we can see that hail core just to the north of O Street, and also moving closer to Brennan. There is our latest update, Lisa. It is over 25th Street now. It does look like it's moving a little bit more north with that latest scan. If I step back here.
Okay.
Here's the last 10 minutes, stepping forward.
Could you put correlation coefficient on
Yes.
for the last 15, 30 minutes or so? And let's
Here's
see.
just a loop. I've been watching it on our other source here, and I have not seen anything specifically spike, except now that little spike closer to Greensburg, but I'm not sure if that is maybe some
stronger winds that are happening
picking
with
up.
it.
Because that's also where
it
the
could
hail
also be
core.
the hail too.
That's where the hail core is.
Yeah. Okay, so let's hope that this continues to slide and just goes to the southeast of Greensburg, but it is going to be such a close call. Folks have been out watching this. You have had meteorologists. You've also had storm chasers that have been monitoring this and reporting a pretty strong tornado through parts of southwestern Kiowa County that continues to lift to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. Greensburg, we've been talking about 9:54 being the arrival time for this. You have probably some pretty large hail that is falling now, maybe getting pretty noisy outside your house. We switched on our hail product from Greensburg over toward Brenham. This is going to be easily 2-inch hail that you're going to see. And then look at this classic hook right here. This is where the tornado is going to be in Kiowa County. Warning stays active until 10:15 tonight, moving to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. Could put this right through Greensburg toward Brennan, and then Haviland right through the heart of Kiowa County. Lucy.
Again, it is nighttime. Do not try to go outside and look for this storm. I know that's my first instinct to do as well, but you're not going to see it. It is dark out. Not only that, but this storm is likely also going to try to be a little bit rain wrapped. We have that hail coming down. So if you are in Greensburg, in Brenham, get to your basement now. This is the time to act. It's not the time to wait and see. It's coming towards you now. Get to your safe place. Better safe than sorry. The storm is going to continue to make its way off towards the northeast. It's tracking about 40 miles per hour. And if I put another track here on as it moves off towards
tornado
emergency.
10:30. Tornado emergency?
Emergency is what came across my phone. Catastrophic.
Okay, so just coming in from the National Weather Service, this is This is Greensburg 2007 all over again, folks. Tornado emergency issued at that time. Another tornado emergency issued this time for northeastern Kiowa County in south central Kansas until 10:30 tonight. A confirmed large and destructive tornado has been observed near Greensburg, moving to the northeast now at 30 miles per hour. So we're dropping it to 30 miles per hour. Again, this is a tornado emergency for Greensburg, Please make sure, folks, that you get to your basement immediately. Get to your basement immediately. Do not go outside. Do not take a look at this tornado. We need to make sure that you are protected because this is May 2007 all over again, folks. A tornado emergency, those are hardly ever issued. And this time we have one now for Kiowa County and in particular the town of Greensburg. Over toward Brenham, all these areas are going to be included within this polygon. And this is the first time in my career that I have ever seen a tornado emergency that has been issued for a tornado and a storm that I have covered. And it's unfortunate that it is for the Greensburg area once again. We only have a few more minutes before this tornado is set to move through the Greensburg area. We are probably down to about 3 minutes before impact. Traveling to the northeast now at about 30 miles per hour. An updated storm track that Lucy is putting on this until 10:30 tonight. A tornado emergency for Kiowa County in Greensburg. I would probably put this at about 9:54. I think I really liked how we were saying 9:54 a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
So between 9:54 and 9:58. And then shortly thereafter, Brenham, and then Felsburg at about 10:20. This storm just ramped up so quickly. And I was saying to Lucy in the background before we went on air, I said, this is a storm to watch because I have a feeling it is going to produce a tornado. And literally within 30, 40 minutes, we are now looking at a tornado emergency for the town of Greensburg here in Kiowa County. So 9:56, we only have a few more minutes before this tornado is set to move through the Greensburg area. It will be passing to the east of Joy, anywhere from Greensburg over toward Haviland, but right now it looks like Greensburg is going to take a direct hit from this. Let's see if we have a little bit more information from the National Weather Service on the tornado emergency for Greensburg. Lucy.
I'm going to get a more zoomed in look again, and we're going to go back to shear rate because I feel like that's the easiest to understand and to see. Well, first zoomed out just a second here. That tornado emergency is showing up as the pink box inside of the purple box. That is where we're seeing that emergency in place for the large destructive tornado that is now on the ground moving towards Greensburg. Please, if you are in Greensburg, take shelter now. Get to the innermost portion of your house. If you are out and about at the grocery store or somewhere, make sure that you know where your storm shelter is and that you are getting there now. This storm, that area of rotation likely going to be over M Street, just to the south of Greensburg, in between County Road N and M Street, moving towards Oak Street. I'm going to put velocity on here just to see if I can get a little bit better. It is just to the south. Yeah, it's just to the south of where that shear rate's trying to put it at. Again, we're looking at different levels within this storm of how high up that rotation is going to be. If we take a look at our reflectivity, that is likely right where it is, anywhere from M Street to County Road N to O Street, moving directly towards Greensburg at this point in time. We are getting information from the National Weather Service that it looks like a picture has come in of some power lines
that have been down.
It crossed
183 right in front. Okay, so this tracker, this is a fellow meteorologist, is showing a picture. We can't show you the picture from National Weather Service Slack because we don't have permission to show it, but it is power lines, and this storm tracker says that it crossed 183 right in front of this storm tracker about 6 miles south of Greensburg. And it's a rather large tornado is what this fellow meteorologist is describing. And of course, everybody else is talking about that this looks so similar to when Greensburg was hit by a tornado back in May of 2007. And we do have a tornado emergency in effect for the Greensburg area at this time. Lucy, let's go over to correlation coefficient. Let's see if we do have anything that could be getting lofted up into the air.
Here's your last 30 minutes, or I'm sorry, 15 minutes.
Okay.
And I'm going to take off that and we're going to loop it. Here you go.
Okay, so here's the town of Greensburg. And then
see that little spike with the hail? I'm not seeing anything just yet.
Not not anything definitive, not like when we saw the tornado earlier this evening that went through Grinnell. I mean, that just glowed on correlation coefficient, because we're looking at things that are in the blue. You're wanting to see something that's different from raindrops, something that may be different from hailstones, and it's going to look differently. It's going to look more like it's blue, like what you see here. But this would not necessarily be indicated with that tornado. So this has been over a relatively rural area, but we have had confirmation of the tornado, and this storm chaser that is on it, this meteorologist says that the tornado is still on the ground, and it is an extremely large wedge tornado. This is the way all of our tornadoes have been, friends, so far this evening. Once these storms have continued to spin up, they've been producing wedges. We saw it in Scott County. Grinnell got hit by a tornado earlier today, and now look at this. I would put that tornado right over M Street.
Right south of Greensburg.
Here, right south of Greensburg. So here's Greensburg, and here's the tornado. So this tornado is going to follow right up into this direction. It's going to go right into Greensburg. It's going to go right into Greensburg, Lucy.
Yeah.
Tornado emergency for Kiowa County, and in particular the Greensburg area.
It's moving right on top of Greensburg at this moment, just south, it looks like, of the main city. At this point in time, that is going to be, zoom in here, see some of these streets. South Oak Street, East Scott Street, south of East Grant Avenue. That is the area that this is moving through, just off due south of Greensburg at this time. That is where the tornado is on the ground. Again, people out there, our storm trackers for the National Weather Service are reporting that that tornado is still on the ground at this time.
And this is also the reason why the Dodge City National Weather Service has issued a tornado emergency for the town of Greensburg. And tornado emergencies, they do not happen that often. I can only think of a few. Of course, you know, a tornado emergency being issued for the Greensburg area back in May 2007. Joplin having another tornado type of emergency. And Lucy's going to zoom things out. You can see the main hail core now pushing to the northeast of Greensburg, but that rotation, it is right on top of the city. So please, let's say some prayers right now for the people in Kiowa County, in Greensburg, that hopefully that this tornado will slide just to the southeast and not do any damage. We have damage this evening in Grinnell due to a tornado earlier today. We've also been tracking other wedge tornadoes that went through Scott County, and now here it is. It's dark. Nobody's able to see this tornado coming up at 10 o'clock tonight, but the tornado is right on top of Greensburg by all counts that we are seeing here from our radar information. This is the storm A confirmed large and destructive tornado was located near Greensburg, moving to the northeast at 30 miles per hour. Tornado emergency for Greensburg. This is a particularly dangerous situation. All folks in the path of this storm, this tornado, need to be in shelter because it could be deadly.
Trying to see if we're getting anything on our debris tracker here. It's hard to tell definitively. It did look like there was a small pickup there. Hopefully, there's the hook, Lisa, right on top of Greensburg at this time, moving towards Brenham, and then it'll continue to make its way off towards the north, towards areas in northern Kiowa County, and then moving on into Edwards County. But if you are in Greensburg, stay in your shelter. If you're in Brenham, get to your tornado shelter if you're not there already. This storm is moving right overhead at this point in time. Looking now at our velocity, still not seeing the brightest rotation here. Just a bit messy though. If we look at our storm relative velocity, a bit brighter. Seeing it move closer towards Greensburg over the last 15 minutes. And here is our current up to date. Definitely some bright greens. We're seeing the storm continue to push off towards the northeast. Again, this is a tornado emergency at this time through 10:30 p.m. It is making its way northeast. We've had spotters report a large wedge tornado on the ground in Kiowa County, moving northeast at about 30 miles per hour, if I remember correctly, for the latest
30
update.
miles per hour to the northeast.
That report of the tornado on the ground came in from 7 miles south-southwest of Greensburg. It is now moving through the Greensburg area, pushing into northern Kiowa County. Brenham, it is moving towards you at this time.
All right, so let's go ahead and recap what we have going on right now. Coming up at 10:01 this evening, what you are looking at, there's so many different colors here. Number one, we do have a confirmed tornado. Number two, we have a tornado emergency in effect for the Greensburg area. Center of circulation now pushing to the east of the Greensburg area. We now have to watch for the circulation, the tornado, to move over toward Brenham, and it's going to continue to lift northeastward across parts of Kiowa County. If we zoom things out, this is the reason why you have more of this pinkish shaded area. This is what a tornado emergency will look like anytime that it is color coded on storm tracker radar. But as this lifts up to the north, looks like the hail has now lifted in Haviland. It's now to the north. This is where the hail core is going to be, some of the deeper shades of red. And also when we switch over to this other product, it goes from pink and it also goes over toward white. This is where you could have hail that's up to about 2 inches in diameter. And it also looks like the hail core has now started to lift to the northeast away from Greensburg. And this is also going to be where we do have the center of circulation associated with the tornado. And by all accounts, from what we understand from those that are on the ground that are watching this, that this has been a large, a destructive tornado. We are still waiting to get information from the National Weather Service and other folks in the area. We do have one of our own storm trackers, Lisa Dimmitt, who is near the Greensburg area, and we're in contact with her. I told her to hold off. I told her to not get anywhere near this storm because with it being at nighttime and with this being a large, destructive tornado, we don't want anybody to get into the path of this tornado. But it still looks like it may start to go through a stage where it starts to weaken a little bit, but then it may start to strengthen once again. And it looks like we may have seen some more strengthening, Lucy, east of Greensburg over toward Brenham with that latest scan.
I'm going to put back on our velocity here. It still looks a little messy. Go back to shear rate. Whoa, okay. Yeah, there's that strengthening you were talking about, Lisa. I will say that with the latest update for the warning that came out, they did drop the emergency tag, but they're leaving the considerable tag.
Okay, so considerable, which means, you know, this could do some considerable damage. And that's why we want to make sure that everybody is in their tornado shelter. Underground is best, getting the lowest level of your house, getting into the bathroom. If you have a mattress, take that with you. Brenham, it looks like it is now your turn with this dangerous storm that could cause considerable damage, keeping the tornado warning going for another about 27 minutes that we have right now. We have not heard of any damage reports in the Greensburg area, but of course this is so new that it's going to take some time before we start to get that information in. But I do know that we do have some storm trackers, our own storm tracker, Lisa Dimmitt, who is in the area. And as soon as the coast is clear, she is probably going to go and see, you know, if there is any damage in this area. And the fact that we did have a tornado emergency issued for the Greensburg area, that is not issued lightly. Lucy.
No, it is not. This storm, putting a track on it now for this tornado warning, it's moving off towards the northeast. The latest update was 35 miles per hour. Brenham, it is here now, making its way northeast in the next half hour or so. Felsberg, it'll be on your doorstep momentarily at 10:28 p.m. It's going to continue to likely keep its strength. This area of the state hasn't seen a lot of storms yet today. That means that atmosphere is primed. It hasn't been worked over yet. There's plenty of energy available to keep them strong, keep hail large, and also keep them with the rotation possible through the rest of this evening, Lisa.
And what's going to happen with these thunderstorms is that we started to see one wave develop around the Wichita area this afternoon. We did have some hail reports on the west side of Wichita. Now it looks like it's starting to ramp up even more so over toward Brenham. Just a new scan here. Brenham, it is on top of you now. Felsburg at 10:28 and Truesdale at 10:32. What will happen with these thunderstorms as they continue to right off to the east and to the northeast, they're expected to become more elevated in time. And elevated means that they're going to be more conducive to producing hail as opposed to the tornadic threat. Meteorologist Jack Maney has been out tracking these storms all day long, and we've had so much moisture in the lower levels of the atmosphere that the ceiling of these clouds, or basically the bottoms of these clouds, are literally scraping the ground. So it doesn't take much with the slightest rotation, the slightest push to take these storms over the edge and for them to become tornadic. This is why we've had tornado damage in the Grinnell area, and we've also had other reports of tornadoes in Scott County. We had a few more up in Cheyenne County, northwest Kansas, southwest Nebraska. It seemed like Cheyenne and Dundee counties kept going underneath tornado warnings consistently so far this evening. That's because of the strong storm system that's moving in from the west. And this storm system is not finished with us just yet. This is what we're going to face with tonight. We'll have more elevated thunderstorms tracking through the central and eastern parts of the state. And then tomorrow, we're going to have another focus for severe weather from central into eastern Kansas. But what we're looking at right now on top of Brennan, this is going to be where the tornado is. And it still looks like it's starting to hold together. And I think there are some pictures that just came in from that storm tracker at 31st Avenue south of Greensburg. They have at least a quarter-mile of power poles that are completely snapped off along the road.
Of 31st Avenue south
31st Avenue south of Greensburg. That's about 3 miles to the south of town.
Yes, let me zoom in and see if that was right where we saw it earlier. I believe it was right where that that sink drain formed. So that would make sense. Our warnings are all kind of getting on top of each other here, so it looks a little bit messy, but we have a confirmed tornado warning in place for Kiowa County. The tornado is over the Brenham area, moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. This warning stays in effect through 10:30 p.m. this evening. If you are anywhere in Kiowa County or in Edwards County as the storm moves north, now is the time to get to your safe place, get to your storm shelter, get towards your basement, the innermost portion of your house if you don't have a basement, as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Also, make sure you're grabbing a pillow, closed-toed shoes, and a blanket to protect yourself, just in the case of the worst situation happening this evening.
All right, Lucy, let's go ahead and recap, and let's go through all the different storms that we have in addition, just from the top. We're not going to go far from this storm. We're going to come back to it. And if you'll notice, over toward northeastern Kansas, the eastern parts of the state, we do have quite a few thunderstorms that have now moved outside the KSN viewing area. This is a severe thunderstorm watch that will stay in effect until midnight tonight. But Lucy, go ahead and put on some of the tornado watches, because the tornado watches are still going to include all of these counties. But you'll notice all of these storms, they're all staying by themselves. They're not lining up together. They're not turning into a complex. And so they have fair game for them to, win all the ingredients, check all the boxes to become strong. And the one storm that is on the southern side of this is the one that prompted the earlier tornado emergency for Greensburg and the tornado warning that is still in effect for Kiowa County. We do have one county, Red Willow County, and also eastern Hitchcock County in Nebraska under a severe thunderstorm warning, but a lot of the other warnings have now started to move over toward the rest of Nebraska. This is McCook, this is Cambridge. This is going to be a line of some damaging winds. Winds at about 60 miles per hour will be the greatest possibility with these thunderstorms. And of course, this is also in the tornado watch. Tornado watch over toward Oberlin, Atwood, Norton, Beaver City stays in effect until 1 a.m. tomorrow morning. So we will continue to monitor these storms as we go through the overnight. Okay, Lucy, let's go ahead and take a look at some of these other storms that we have farther to the east. Let's go ahead and move our view. These thunderstorms are not severe that are north of Hayes, also over toward like Russell County, over toward Barton County. These are not severe. The one down here over toward Kiowa County is still severe, and it is the one that has the tornado warning that will remain in effect until 10:34 tonight. It is a considerable threat. Hail up to the size of 2 inches in diameter will be possible with this storm. The storm will be tracking to the northeast now at about 35 miles per hour. At 10:08 p.m., a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado was located near Haviland, moving to the northeast at 35 miles per hour. So it is, we saw Greensburg. Now we're seeing Brenham. Now we're starting to look over toward Haviland for where this tornado, a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado, is now located. So the track now is going to be more to the northeast, and it's going to be at about 35 miles per hour. This is a particularly dangerous situation. Folks that are in the path of this storm need to take shelter immediately. Lucy.
I am putting a track on now. The speed of this storm is 35 miles per hour towards the northeast. That means Hopewell around 10:37 p.m. If we put a track for 45 minutes on rather than a half hour, Maxville, it is going to be at 10:54. Lisa, we did just have yellow start to pop on our sync terrain here with our shear rate indication as the storm moved out of Brenham and towards Haviland. It's going to be moving much closer. We are still seeing the potential for the storm to be on the ground. It's remaining as it's confirmed. We've gotten several reports in of it as a wedge tornado. That means it is large as it's moving its way right along the highway here as it makes its way off more so towards the east a little bit, but still moving towards the northeast. This storm will continue to produce that tornado as long as it's still feeding off of all this energy as it pushes through this part of the state. I'm going to turn the tornado watch off of the background again because it's starting to get a little messy. There's our pinks and purples. Lisa, it looks like they tracked. Is this a separate warning for the more southern cell now?
So what they are doing right now when it comes to the warnings here, they have now issued a new tornado warning for Kiowa over toward Pratt.
That's also confirmed.
Because what it's starting to do right now is, and I'm going to show you a photo because we just received a photo from Storm Tracker Lisa Dimmitt, and this is a wide tornado. This is a wide tornado that's going to be moving over toward Haviland. And this is also why the polygon has now been painted in this direction to take more of this movement over toward western Pratt County, just to the west of Collison and to the north of Croft. But where you are showing this right here, that is going to be where we have the tornado. So the tornado is now east of Greensburg. It is now east of Brenham, and it is just to the west of the Haviland area. This is H Street, H Avenue, and over toward 45th Avenue. This is going to be where the junction is, where we do have the tornado. So we do have the tornado warning. What's the expiration time on the new one?
The new one, I believe, is 11 p.m.
11 p.m., okay.
And it is also a confirmed tag. I'm not seeing anything that's showing confirmation with that CC spike or where the debris would be with this. But if we look at our velocity, there is a very clear mixing here of those reds and greens. That's what we look for. And when they get very bright like this, as they move over that area you just talked about, Lisa, H Street, 45th Avenue, G Street, moving east, that is a large tornado on the ground. Oh, wow.
That has to be probably
that has
a mile
to be at
wide.
least a mile.
From the picture that one of our storm trackers is sending us.
Which I believe she'll also try to send into the newsroom, and we'll
I'm going to go ahead and send it right
up.
now.
Okay, so Lisa will work on that. I'm going to go over again where we're seeing this storm now, where it's moving. Here's a look at our reflectivity, right? So that's a look at the rain. We have this storm that's moving its way north towards Havarti. At least, are we sure that this isn't something down towards the south also?
Oh, looks like we do have something else that's going on down here to the south too. For this one, and then you have this one here.
Look at that.
Oh, wow. So that one's ramping up on the south side, but you still have this guy that's going over here.
But the southern one is confirmed as well.
Okay.
Okay, so we have two areas that we're watching. One is south in southern Kiowa County. Zooming in on that one, it is moving on Street R towards Street Q, moving northeast. The other storm, that one looks very ragged. That's the one that we have spotters with eyes on at this moment. It's moving over H Street, 45th Avenue, G Street, in between Brenham and Haviland. Continuing right along there, that area in yellow, that is where that area of rotation is going to be. Again, if we look at it with our velocity product here, those greens and reds, that bright indication, that's where those winds are mixing. That's where that tornado is likely on the ground at this point in time. We're continuing to see reports of that tornado staying as confirmed as it makes its way through here. Several warnings all on top of each other here as we're seeing multiple areas to watch in Kiowa County. Kiowa County definitely the place to be, I guess, if you're a storm this evening, because they are just going once they start here. Again, one storm in southern Kiowa County. It is off towards the west of Belvedere, making its way northeast. It is currently over, it looks like more of a rural area, the Street R, Street Q. Really the only streets I'm seeing here as we zoom in close on this area of rotation. The latest update, Lisa, is several spots to watch as we're moving through.
Definitely the one near Haviland. Then we have another one in south central Kiowa County. That one's tracking to the northeast. Both of these are tracking to the northeast, although I would make a case the one that's near Haviland may have a little bit more of an easterly push to it.
Yes. That one's definitely pushing more east. It's been following right along the highway there from Greensburg all the way to Haviland. Wellsford, you're included within this as well. If this keeps on that eastward track, it's moving right towards Wellsford. But that southern storm also is putting Wellsford in the path once again with that secondary area of rotation. So two spots to watch.
Two spots. Two spots.
If we put on our velocity, that clear indication of this one, this is the northern one in between Brenham and Haviland. We have eyes on the ground. There's another area in the southern portion of the state that's off towards the west of Belvedere. So two areas.
Two tornadic storms that are moving northeastward and will move across Stafford and also Pratt counties. So we have what's happening in Kiowa now, but it's going to lift over toward Pratt, and then we also need to watch Stafford too.
Yes.
So we need to watch both of those, because if these continue to hold together, then especially that one near Haviland.
I keep looking at the debris signature and there is nothing yet, but that is good news because hopefully that means...
Okay. Let's get out to meteorologist Jack Maney in Storm Tracker 3. He has now made his way farther to the south and is in Pratt, getting ready to intercept closer to this storm. Jack, give us an update, please.
Hi, Lisa. Yeah, we are just now moving through the city of Pratt itself, and you can probably see from the from our camera that we're looking out from the front of Storm Tracker 3, just the flashes, the practically strobing lightning flashes to our west. And that lightning is really indicative of something pretty monstrous happening to our west, and we're continuing to see that extremely strong radar signature near Haviland that continues to move to the east. We're going to be working our way to the west, getting closer, but yeah, you can just sometimes tell just by how much lightning these storms produce that something is definitely up. So yeah, for portions of northwestern Pratt County, y'all just heads up, this is heading your way. This thing is nasty. Back over to you, Lisa.
So I want to bring your attention to one thing that Manny talked about. He talked about the lightning. Look at all the lightning that we have that is spreading. And of course, you can see an emergency vehicle that is ahead of you, that passed you there, probably going to where we do have where we've had the tornado emergency for Greensburg, where we have two tornadoes that are confirmed at this time. One that's near Haviland. We also have the other one in south central Kiowa County, tracking to the northeast. At this time, we do not have a tornado warning in effect for Edwards County, but it is possible that it may get clipped the far southeastern part of Edwards County. We already have Pratt County, not the town of Pratt, but a small sliver of western Pratt County that is currently under a tornado warning. And the tornado warnings, they've been highlighted in pink and purple. They're different colors because they can produce considerable damage, but they are also 2 tornadoes that are on the ground, and the one near the Haviland area is incredibly large. And what will happen when you get tornadoes is that you will have an uptick in frequency of lightning. And that's one thing that meteorologist Jack Maney was talking about in Storm Tracker 3. And as you can see, he has emergency lights that are off into the distance, and he is now trying to get a little bit closer to where the core of the storm is. Lucy, could you put on his GPS coordinates over here? You're going to see Maney's live shot on this side, and you're going to see Storm Tracker on this. Here is where he is located, so he's north of the Pratt area. He is actually going to watch where this tornado is near the Haviland area, pass just to the west-northwest of him. So he's going to be getting into the position of this tornado here relatively closely. Okay, let's go ahead and zoom in, Lucy, and let's take a look at where we do have the circulations, how those are looking right now when it comes to the one over toward Haviland, because boy, it was just, there's a lot of different circulations here. Let's go ahead and take the lightning off.
This cluster of storms is just, it's really in an environment that is conducive to it continuing to rotate. We have several blips of red here, which is what indicates that key in rotation. If we take it back 15 minutes, here's where it started to move right through Brenham, continuing on here, stepping forward at about 8:10 p.m. or 10:08 p.m. That's when we saw that sink drain over Brenham, and then it's going to continue to intensify as it makes its way off towards the east. And then we start to see that secondary storm start to pop up in the southern portions of Kiowa County. And this is a storm that's starting to feed off of the energy in the southern half of the state that the first storm missed out on. And now they're continuing to push their way off towards the northeast, fluctuating. And there is the latest update, Lisa. It looks like that area of rotation in the southern portion of the state is also moving more east. These storms are taking more of an easterly track at the moment, in my opinion. If we look at our velocity, we want those reds and greens to be bright to show where those storms are going to be mixing through. And definitely a time when that storm is breathing. Not quite seeing that key rotation that we were seeing earlier.
Still have some small rotation in northeastern Kiowa County. I mean, it's not as well defined as it was earlier, but
relative to what we saw earlier, but still, that red is not what we want to see.
Right. Could we be looking at one storm that just, absorbs,
siphons off the other?
That siphons off the another one, and then you just get this one larger storm. And you mentioned that it's starting to take more of the easterly track. You always worry about those type of storms because they're going to still want to produce a tornado when they move in that way. Yeah, so Haviland, please continue to use your tornado safety precautions. We also have a brand new tornado warning. I talked about this a little while ago about Edwards County being added to it. And Edwards County has now been added to the tornado warning, along with more of Pratt County until 11 o'clock tonight.
That's going to take a second to hit. There it is right now. It's still keeping that confirmed tag.
Yes, it is. Considerable tag. And also the 2-inch in diameter hail. A confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado located near Haviland, moving northeast, now at 25 miles per hour. So this is starting to slow down a little bit. We started off at 40. Now we're dropping to 35. Now we're dropping a little bit more to 25 miles per hour.
They still have it northeast, though.
They still have it to the northeast. They have not taken more of the easterly jog with it. But at 10:20, 2 minutes ago, a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado was located near Haviland, moving northeast at 25 miles per hour. This, when we're talking about Haviland, this is the northeastern part where we're seeing the circulation. So we have one tornado here, and then we have another tornado that is going to be to the northwest of Belvedere, tracking to the northeast. We have a storm track on the northern tornado at 10:56, Iuka at 11:08, and Natrona at 11:17. So this will be moving in your direction. Confirmed tornado warning in effect for Edwards and also Pratt counties until 11 o'clock tonight. You'll notice that the town of Pratt not included. Collison is, Wellsford is, Hopewell, Byers, be watching for this storm. Make sure that you guys are going to your tornado safe place because this is a large and confirmed tornado from storm trackers. We also have the other tornado that's across the southeastern part of Kiowa County. This may have to prompt a new tornado warning that could go over toward Croft, and it may also be extended over toward Collison. But now this looks like it's starting to ramp up once again. So we still have this circulation and we have this new circulation that's down here, Lucy.
Those two areas as this storm starts to make its way more northeast. If I am reading this correctly, it looks like they dropped the confirmed tag on the southern storm as they extended it more northwards.
Well, that makes sense because it looks like that first circulation, this part right here is now weakening, but I think we need to watch this one here. Please go over to reflectivity real quick and let's take a look at what this is doing here. Okay, so that's away from the storm. So the storm is now starting to update here. So maybe that's just taken a while for this to catch up. But now it looks like we still have the tornado that is ongoing closer to the Haviland area. Let's go ahead and reposition this. And let's get an update with meteorologist Jack Maney in Storm Tracker 3. And Jack, I am watching your feed and the lightning is continuous and vivid and it's just not letting up.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Lisa. This is showing every sign of being a classic tornado-producing monster coming up across portions of eastern Kiowa County. And what I'm watching on radar is making me think that we're going to be potentially seeing the storm hand off that northern circulation, the one that's had the large tornado on it to the north of Haviland. That is getting choked off by the storm coming in from the south. And we're going to watch as these two kind of battle it out for dominance. But as we see these two cells merge together, I do think that southern circulation to the south of Haviland now, the one that we don't have a confirmed tornado on at this exact moment, that one's going to be one to watch out for sure. And we're going to be playing for that one because that first tornado, it's going to be way back in the rain and we're going to have a lot of trouble seeing it out here in the dark. So we're going to try to see what's going on the southern end of this line of storms, and we'll be keeping you updated as we get more. Lisa.
All right, and let me ask you this, Jack, because we've seen some emergency personnel that have been passing you on the highway. Have you seen many more of those since the last time we caught up with you?
No, we had a couple of police cars moving with us to the west. I believe they have turned off. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't seen any other first responders out here, but there is a considerable amount of storm chaser traffic on the roads right now.
Yeah, storm chaser traffic. When you have a moderate risk and then a tornado watch that gets issued, it brings everybody out. We've seen that in Oklahoma. Oklahoma had that issue yesterday, and today Maney has seen a little bit, but now it seems like he's really starting to have an increase in the number of storm chasers. And, you know, if you go back to the last 30, 40 minutes, we started off with a tornado warning for Kiowa County and a tornado emergency for the Greensburg area. The folks in the newsroom are constantly in contact with the folks in Kiowa County. We're gathering some more information for Greensburg, from Brennan, and of course Haviland as this storm continues to track to the northeast. And Lucy, you have something that's circled on the middle of this. What is this that you have circled?
This is our debris signature indication. So where it pops up at the end.
It's a TBS, a TDS.
Yeah, a TDS. That is where we're going to be seeing something that is foreign. So whether it be dust, whether it be debris, whether it be something like that get tossed up. And that's usually a clear indication that our storm is on the ground. I want to take us back here. Right there, we can see where this color pops within the red. That's where we're likely going to be seeing that pop of debris. Yeah. So that was likely where the tornado tracked, just north there.
Just a few moments ago. And that also lines up at 10:21 with the storm chaser report of seeing the large confirmed tornado in that location near Haviland. So that all lines up.
And if we switch over to shear rate, that's right when the sink drain started.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Debris signature right there.
Right, yeah, right there. What we were talking about earlier.
Okay,
so,
let's go ahead and zoom things out here, and let's go ahead and take a look at the, I want to take a look back at reflectivity, and I want to take a look at how one storm may be working with another storm and where we're going to go from here. Okay, this kind of looks like Pac-Man going into western Pratt County right now. So as you can see, This is where we have Iuka. This is where meteorologist Jack Maney is located. And this is where you're going to start to see some of the circulation that will be where that tornado is located. And this is still the purple polygon, which stands for a tornado that has been confirmed. So this is a confirmed tornado that continues to now move away from Kiowa County and push its way into northwestern Pratt County. And this is also going to be where meteorologist Jack Maney is located. And Jack is getting off the highway. He's getting onto a dirt road right now, and he's watching the lightning, and he's not only looking at Doppler radar to see what's happening with looking at the X-ray of this from higher up in the atmosphere down to the surface. But what Maney is also doing is he's using the lightning as a visual tool to see what he sees at the surface. And Jack, I want to tell you this. We heard from Lisa Dimmitt, one of our storm trackers, and she sent me a photo as the storm was passing by the Greensburg area, and it was a wedge. It was probably more than a mile wide of a tornado. What are you seeing where you are located, and what is your location?
Yeah, absolutely, Lisa. I would believe every bit of that was a wedge tornado based off of that radar signature. But we are not seeing much more here other than just a lot of haze and grunge, a lot of frequent flashes of lightning. But the visibility is so poor around these portions of Kansas that we really haven't been able to see any of the bolts from these lightning strikes, which are certainly, many of them are hitting the ground. Usually you have a ton of cloud to ground lightning around these tornado producing thunderstorms. So we have not really seen any bolts exactly from our location. I think we have maybe about a mile of visibility at best here. We can see the highway about a mile distant over in the distance off to about my left. But yeah, we are going to be struggling for getting any kind of definition out of these storms until we are pretty much right up under their nose. But we're going to be getting as close as we can and keeping things safe from here in Storm Tracker 3, but we're going to be doing our best to get you a view of what these storms are doing on the ground. Lisa?
All right, we'll continue to check in with meteorologist Jack Maney and photojournalist James Hare in Storm Tracker 3 of a storm that still has a tornado warning on it. Tornado warning is staying up until 11 o'clock tonight. The storm that produced a tornado in Kiowa County prompted an tornado emergency for the Greensburg area, continued to hold on to the tornado signature, passing over toward Brennan and now Haviland. Now it looks like it's starting to push to the east of Haviland, and the majority of the worst part of the storm is now where you could have this tornado will be into the northwestern portions of Pratt County. Should stay just to the north of Pratt, but anywhere from Hopewell over toward Byers and Collison, you folks need to be in your tornado safe place. And over toward Iuka, if you folks also need to be watching this in addition to folks here to the north in Stafford County. And there's a couple of areas. It's really messy right now when it comes to the center of circulation, because you had one storm, you had another one, and now they're absorbing into one. So could they be starting to get their act together? Or could we be looking at a type of situation where we're starting to go into more of an elevated feature with this storm, to where the tornadic signatures are going to go down and the hail threat is going to continue to go up? Lucy?
We had been talking about that just earlier today as the day started during the afternoon, the surface-based storms, and then transferring more into that hail threat as we move into the evening. Right now I have our velocity product up, so that's looking at the rotation in the atmosphere. And as we step through the last 10 minutes here, you can see those bright colors, one in northern Kiowa County, and then another one in southern portions of Kiowa County. But as we step forward, both of those start to broaden out just a bit and then start to weaken some. But storms go through phases. They will strengthen and then weaken and then strengthen again as they continue to filter in more energy. And this storm in particular, it's merging on top of itself is the best way to say it. These two areas of rotation now forming into one big storm from our reflectivity look here. It's going to continue to move towards the northeast. These tornado warnings are in effect through 11 p.m. for Kiowa County, as well as Pratt County, portions of Edwards County, and then the very southern portion of Stafford County at this time. Again, here's a look at our shear rate. It's a bit messy, but where those bright greens are, I will circle them for you here. Oh, here's the latest update again. It looks like that northern cell falling apart some. If we step it back, you can see where that rotation was. That is where we had the confirmed wedge tornado that was on the ground. starting to get siphoned out. And then that southern storm now starting to take on more of that energy. It's looking a lot brighter just south of Wellsford. And we can see where that one also picked up more energy, tried to produce that red dot, which is what we usually see when we start to get that very strong area of rotation. This storm is going to continue to make its way off towards the northeast. With the last update I saw, it was moving at about 25 miles per hour to the northeast. It started to take more of an easterly jog, but now it looks like it's back in that northeasterly direction at this point in time.
Looks like it's going more for radar indicated as opposed to confirmed
For
with this for northeastern Kiowa and west central Pratt counties. At 10:32, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Haviland, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. So it's still, they're still keeping the, tornado possible on this, but now the hail size has started to drop to quarter size.
So the southern storm, the southern warning, is what they decided to drop the confirmed tag with. The more northern storm, they have also dropped the confirmed tag with.
Well, that
Yes, I think.
so
It's getting messy.
Northeastern Kiowa County, a tornado warning remains in effect until 11 p.m. for northeastern Kiowa
Got
County
it,
and
into
west
Pratt.
central Pratt County.
Got it.
Which would be this one.
The northern one.
Yes, it would be the northern one. At 10:32, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Haviland, which is the northern one, moving miles per hour. Tornado emergency for Greensburg. This is a particularly dangerous situation.